You take a step, then another. The first time you walk a new route, your brain is a frantic cartographer. Your hippocampus, a seahorse-shaped structure deep in your temporal lobe, is firing wildly. Specialized neurons called place cells are activating, each one claiming a specific spot in the real world as its own. It's not just one cell, it's a chorus of them, singing a song of your location. At the same time, your prefrontal cortex is on high alert, making conscious decisions. Turn left here, avoid that obstacle, remember that landmark. You are actively building a map from scratch. This map isn't just a series of snapshots. It's a geometric masterpiece. Deeper in your brain, in the entorhinal cortex, another set of neurons called grid cells are firing. They don't care about a specific landmark. They care about distance and direction. As you move, they fire in a stunningly regular triangular pattern, creating a hexagonal grid that your brain lays over the entire environment. This is your internal coordinate system, the graph paper on which your place cells draw the world. It's the reason you can take shortcuts through a park you've only walked around once. You aren't just remembering the path, you're remembering the space. By day 5, something changes. The walk is familiar. Your prefrontal cortex goes quiet. The conscious effort of navigation fades, and control is handed over to a deeper, more ancient part of the brain, the basal ganglia. This is the home of habit. The route is no longer a problem to be solved. It is a procedure to be executed, a piece of code being run. This process, known as automaticity, is incredibly efficient. Your brain is offloading a complex task to free up its most valuable resource, conscious attention. You are now walking on autopilot. So where does that freed up attention go? It turns inward. This is when your default mode network, DMN, lights up. The DMN is what your brain does when it's not focused on an external task. It's daydreaming, contemplating the future, replaying memories, and connecting disparate ideas. The rhythmic, automated act of walking the same path creates the perfect neurochemical environment for this network to thrive. You're not thinking about the walk anymore, so you can finally think about that nagging work problem, or invent a new story, or simply let your mind drift. The boring walk has become an incubator for creativity. As the macro view of the route becomes automated, your attention can now zoom in on the micro details. By day 15, you're not navigating anymore, you're observing. You notice the specific pattern of moss growing in a crack in the pavement. You recognize the sound of a particular neighbor's wind chimes. You can predict which sprinkler head will be running on which day. This isn't just passive noticing. Your brain is a pattern-matching machine, and by removing the distracting task of navigation, it can devote its full power to finding the subtle rhythms and patterns of the environment. You're seeing the world with a new level of fidelity. Have you ever seen a dirt path cutting across a grassy corner? That's a desire path, the route people choose versus the one they were given. By day 20, your brain is doing the same thing internally. It's not just following the route, it's optimizing it. You subconsciously learn to shift your weight a second before a particular curb. You find the most efficient line around a slow opening gate. This isn't a conscious choice. The basal ganglia is running thousands of micro-simulations on every walk, shaving milliseconds and saving tiny bits of energy. Your body is carving a desire path into your own muscle memory. Something else solidifies around day 25, time. You know with uncanny accuracy when you are halfway. You can feel when you are 5 minutes from your destination without ever checking your watch. This is because the hippocampus doesn't just map space, it also maps time. The sequence of place cells firing creates a temporal record. The walk is no longer just a path through space, but a journey through a predictable duration. Your brain has intertwined the spatial and temporal maps so completely that to know where you are is to know when you are. Here is the most profound change. By day 30, the neural architecture you've strengthened by walking this simple path is being used for something else entirely: thinking. Neuroscientists have discovered that the same grid cells and place cells that navigate physical space are also used to navigate abstract concepts. When you organize your thoughts, understand a social hierarchy, or structure a story, your brain is treating those ideas as if they are locations in a cognitive space. It places them on that same hexagonal grid. The internal GPS you use to get to the corner store is the same one you use to understand the relationship between supply and demand, or the plot of a movie. So, walking the same route every day doesn't just make the walk easier. It is a form of mental practice. You are fundamentally exercising your brain's ability to structure information. You are reinforcing the very mechanisms that allow for complex, abstract thought. The mundane repetition strengthens the cognitive tools you need for imagination and reason. Every single step on that familiar pavement is a rehearsal for navigating the infinitely more complex landscapes of your own mind.
Monotony has grown fast. Nearly 2,700 people have watched in the last few weeks, yet less than 0.03% are subscribed. It would mean a lot if you joined by hitting subscribe. And again, thanks for watching.